How to pull the probate list step by step. Guys, it's Rick Ginn, and in this video, I'm going to show you the 3 steps to pull any probate lead from your local county. I'm also going to show you the 3 proven strategies I've used to get tons of probates under contract. And if you stay with me till the end, I'll share with you my free probate letter I've used for over 5 years now with the highest success rate possible. But before I get into it, do me a favor, make sure you smash that like button, you hit that subscribe button to continue to receive the absolute best information on wholesaling today. So before we get into pulling the probates, you have to answer this question. Are you going to be pulling those physically at the courthouse, or are you going to be accessing the information on the online court system? Once you identify this, you can now choose which strategy to implement to pull your probates. The second thing I need you to do is you need to research your state probate statutes. And this basically in effect tells you how probate, the process works in your state. Almost all this information is online. So make sure you go to your state, if not county level, and look up your local probate process to make sure you understand the flow of probates. So now we're going to move on to the step where you want to locate the probates from your local county court probates, and you want to be specific when getting this information. You also have to understand that you might have multiple counties in your area, but the crazy thing with probates is every county, they can be a couple miles from each other. I have a county that's only 10 miles apart, and their policies on how they file probates and how you can access probates is like night and day. So it is challenging to scale probates on pulling the data, and it's very specific for each county, and you have to understand that when chasing down probate leads. So when asking for the probate information, the easiest way to get this is go and access your probate court. Now that's usually going to be at your county courthouse level, and a lot of times there's a guy or a gal there that is basically there to help you out. I always like to go and ask for information to understand the probate process so I can figure out how to pull that information. But what you're looking for is the probate docket. And all this is a fancy word for an organized master list of all the open and pending and closed probates. You're specifically looking for open probates, the most recent ones within your county. Now, you have to understand this key distinction. Although probates are public information, every county has a different privacy policy, which they believe they are protecting the interest of the parties involved. And for that reason, even though it can be public information, a lot of these counties will put up barriers and loopholes to restrict your access to this information. So understanding the difference between public information and privacy policy, you typically have to figure out what your county's privacy policy when it comes to accessing probate information. The easiest way to do it is kill them with kindness. Ask very nicely, ask the question in different ways. Build rapport with them just like you would with a motivated seller. If they have a picture of their dog or their family on them, start engaging them. Remember, they're employees, they're humans just like you and me. They're kind of the firewall between you and that information. You are going to have to build amazing rapport, have great conversations, and they'll eventually, most likely, give you the information. And remember the rule, you are going to get some resistance when getting this information due to privacy policies. To overcome resistance, you beat it with persistence. Be consistent and keep asking high quality questions, and most importantly, be nice about it. So once we get to this information, either you're pulling a physical file or you're pulling the information online. It should be pretty much the same information. And all probate information on the docket is going to contain this basic information. Number one, it's going to have a case number. It's going to have a name of the deceased person. It's going to have a name of the attorney that is filing the paperwork. And last but not least, probably one of the most important pieces is you're looking for the PR, which stands for personal representative, or executor, depending on what state and county you're located in. So once you have all that information, and the best way to learn how to read that information off the docket or the case number is try to get help from somebody at the probate court that can basically help explain what each word means for you. Don't be shy to ask for help. That's how I learned how to do probate. So once you have the deceased person's name, You now want to take that information and cross-reference it on your local property appraiser site to see if they own any real property within that county. Once you have a match, now you have a way to pursue this probate lead. The next thing is you're going to identify the PR, which is the personal representative of the executor. And what you want to do is skip trace their information. That's just a fancy way for trying to find their mailing address and their contact phone number, so you can either send them a piece of mail or you can reach out and cold call them to see if there's any interest in selling that property. Now, I want you to understand this. Sometimes this information can be tricky to get. Some counties just won't cooperate with you. The docket doesn't give you the PR, the executor on there. So you can use what we call the Doe Approach, which I use quite frequently on counties I can't access this information. So if I have the deceased person's name and I can cross-reference a property address they own in that county, you can send a letter to that physical property, the one you want to buy, and basically you're going to make it out to the estate of John Doe. Why am I going to send a letter to the estate if someone's passed away? Why? Because someone is accessing that mailbox, and most likely the PR, the executor, is managing that mail, and they're going to manage a ton of letters that say to the estate of John Doe. And for that reason, it's kind of a simple way to do it if you can't get exact information on your PR or the executor of that probate. So once again, it's your choice. You can simply mail them a letter, and if you stay to the end, I'll show you how you can get access to this letter for free. It's proven and it works very, very effectively. Or the fastest way to connect with them is simply a cold call. And the method is simply say, hey, Liz, I don't talk about the probate. I just asked, hey, listen, I drove by this property. I want to know if there's if you have any interest in selling the property. The letter actually addresses the probate. The cold call just is you're a regular cash buyer trying to buy the property. So the reason I use it is kind of the McDonald's Burger King approach. If you have multiple approaches, some people gravitate towards the cold call and some people gravitate towards the mail. Either way, marketing to probates is very simple. It's not expensive and it's very slow, but when you get these deals, they are very, very profitable. So there's another technique that a lot of people don't talk about is maybe you don't have time to go to the courthouse and pull these records, or you can't get access to pulling these records online. One of the strategies you can use is you can go over to listrei.com, and they have a filter built in there, what they call pre-probates. It's kind of a shotgun approach. It cross-references death certificates to people that own properties within that county, and you have a good shot at finding these people and either just cold calling them, which is the best way to do it, or sending them a piece of mail. And it's not perfect, but it also accesses people that don't qualify for probate or the property's pulled out of probate. And if you're looking for a simple version, you can use it under listrei.com. It is a paid version, but it is very efficient if you're a one-person army and you don't have a lot of time. Check that out. So now I want to share with you the 3 methods I've used to really dominate probates in my local market and on the national level. And I'm going to share with you these tips and how you can utilize them in your probate marketing strategies. Number 1, you got to understand, probate is a sensitive subject. Somebody passed away. If you've ever had a death in the family, understanding people grieve in different stages, people take different amounts of times, and people just react to this differently. So you have to learn to be patient. Once a probate is filed, that's usually enough time, usually 30 to 60, sometimes 90 days gone by. And for that reason, that is the perfect time, because speed is probably the most important factor when marketing to a probate. So do not try to recycle old probates. The most recent ones are the best ones to market to. When these sellers reach out and call you, or you call them, once you connect with them, rapport, and there is some element of motivation for them to sell that property, if it's vacant, they're out of state, have a long conversation with them. The longer you talk to a probate, the better your odds of getting a great deal on it. Use the 80-20 rule. Have them talk 80% of the time. You ask 20% of quality questions. And keep in mind, it's going to take you 5 to 6 touches before you even address price, because once you establish a great rapport with a great conversation and you find out the property is a perfect fit for you as a wholesaler and a win-win for them, then you understand if you take your time, you will win more often than you lose. Most wholesalers try to run people over in probate. You're going to do the opposite. Number 2, you need to understand the process of probate in your local state and county. For the most part on probate, the attorneys tell them when the probate's done, you can sell the property. That is not accurate information, and it's self-serving for most probate lawyers. Like in my state, you can easily buy a property that's in probate before the probate is complete. I know it sounds crazy, but a lot of lawyers tell them you have to wait till the end. Understanding if they wait till the end of the probate process, that property is going to go on the open market and you have no competitive advantage over getting that contract. What I want to do is explain to the seller, I can actually buy your property before the probate is complete. Let me show you how to do this. Now, I'm not going to tell them over the phone how to do that. And what I want to do is leverage this information to set up an appointment to show them how to do that. Once I meet with them, I simply tell them if they're interested in selling the property, we can enter in a contract as long as they're the designated PR or the executor. And if we come to that agreement, that will get you the price you need. It will minimize the expenses on this property, the insurance, the mortgage, the utilities, the maintaining of the lawn, and that money will go to your estate and you will get the most bang for your buck. And keep in mind, as the market's dropping, the value of the house is dropping, the expenses are going up, it's probably in your beneficial interest to get the property sold now. How do you do that? All we have to do is enter into a contract, and basically I'm going to give that information to the title company and they'll give instructions to your lawyer to file for a motion to liquidate the asset. Remember, I don't need you to be a lawyer. You don't need to be a lawyer. You just need to solve your seller's problem. If they agree to this, then I'm going to show you how to move forward. Now that you understand you have information to help your sellers out and you've set an appointment with them, you have to understand this. And I'm going to give you a graphical representation. Your job right now is to get a signed contract from the PR or the executor. They have the authority to enter into it for the property. They do not need their lawyer's permission. Let me repeat, they don't need their lawyer's permission. So I'm going to give you a graphical illustration of what you're trying to accomplish here. So you have your seller, that's your seller right there. And then you have you, which is the buyer. And I want you to imagine right here is a divisive line, and this is the lawyer, more specifically, the probate lawyer. Your job is to go get a contract directly from your seller, more specifically, a contract signed. If you ask the probate lawyer for permission to do this, they are going to do what we call a block. And what they're going to do is once you ask this lawyer, they are instantly going to build a shield around their seller, and they are not going to let you go through. No matter what you do, they're going to stop you. So it is vitally imperative that once you know this is a good situation for your seller, meaning that they want to sell the property and they want to minimize the expenses to the estate, then it is completely up to you. Let me change my color here. Seller, you to be direct with the contract. Once you do that, now you have shielded your deal, you've protected your seller's interest, and the lawyer can only advise from the outside at this point. You see, because they usually try to stand between you and the seller in regards of doing appraisals, BPOs, and then they're going to wrap in expensive reviews, and they can shield them from your contract. And for that reason, the sooner you can connect with your seller and get a signed, executed contract, the greater your odds of getting a deal done. Remember, I want to create a win-win situation. It's a win for the seller. It's a win for you. It's a win for the cash buyer in the end. And you've got to understand this in probate investing. So guys, that's pretty much it. I've shown you the 3 most successful strategies I use to close and get any probate contract inked. So now the most important part. Hey, Rick, can you share with us your probate ad template? And I tell you what, below in the link on this video, I'll add my exact probate letter. I'd like you to do some variations with it. If you guys want to use AI, you can change it up a little bit. And this one works really well because we explain what we do without going into detail. The idea is to leave intrigue. If you get intrigued, they call you, or when you call them, either way, the point of it is to engage your prospects in probate so you can set an appointment so you can buy their property. So guys, tell me if you're going to use these strategies in your probates to pull them and close them, and are you going to use my probate proven letter template in your wholesaling business? So guys, if you got value from this video, do me a favor, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button to continue to receive the best wholesaling information today. Guys, this is Rick Ginn, and I'll see you in the next video.